Just had lunch with some very good friends that we've known for, my God, over 25 years. The subject was a little bit different than what we've talked about over the past 25 years. They wanted to talk about getting used to getting old and what goes into the planning stages in the what if factor. I didn't expect that kind of a conversation. But I'll tell you what, when the body is screaming, it constantly sends out signals that we either listen to or push aside, only to pay for it later. We take amazingly great care of this vessel that we've been given, but it's got a mind of its own. Oh yeah, and it decides on its own when it's time to make a little bit of noise. Ice or over-the-counter drugs, they seem to know a language, but sometimes this new season of pain, it's not going to easily go away. This is when I turn to meditation and other disciplines that reach into the disconnection, and it does all it can to not recreate the path that reshapes the pace, so that whatever healing is required, it's not going to be under the control of old habits and bad decisions. It's going to take time, which nobody has, not until the body begins to scream. And then we begin to listen to it. But is it too late? That's what we were talking about today. The old friends of 25 plus years or more. Getting prepared for those moments when the body aches might lead to something else. But where do we turn? So we're at that point in our years where it's like you got to be prepared for all things that are changing. And sometimes it's overnight. Hey, it's Arrow. This is The Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer. Stuff like this, man, I pay attention to. Because things like this come to you when you least expect it, but yet the universe believes you need to know this, and you need to get it planted, and let's see if we can water it and get it growing. It's time to really be aware. This is The Daily Mess. Now, I'm not the type of person to leave a sheet of paper silent. Basically, you'll never see me with an empty piece of paper. The invisible voices speak louder than the number 11 in the movie Spinal Tap. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. By being on this sheet of paper, I'm allowed to scrape off the chalk. And somehow, some way, words and thoughts appear on this page. I believe that they were placed here while part of the inner core of rings inside that living tree. It's a gift from nature. And it's up to the chalk remover to locate ways to activate it in a very active world. There's so much content where we are today. Too many voices, not enough ears. So we turn to this sheet of paper which features words, planting all shapes of emotion and true connection, always ready for anybody to come back on a different day. Whereas a conversation, it's never the same way twice. This is why I put writing always first. Even if you're jotting down notes, sitting with friends, they just want to know what happens when the taxes are due and the tax person was him or her, but they're not here anymore. What do you do? Or what happens when the body breaks down and you have to go to the hospital? Who's taking care of this person? That's some heavy duty subjects, and it sounds like I'm some old guy sitting here, but I believe if you really stop and think, even somebody in their late 20s going into 30s are going, what if something very odd at a very strange time takes place? What's next? We can talk all day about how you're preparing for your future. I could be your financial advisor. But unless it's written on paper and you physically can see it, smell it, taste it, hear it, what you're doing is you're just putting it out there. You've got to have something in front of you so that others can listen to the communication. If something tragic were to happen to you, and I'm just being very honest with you here, what you put on paper becomes their map. Otherwise, they're left in a state of assumption. When my sister lost her husband of many years, she openly admitted to me, I was lost. I didn't know where to turn. We didn't plan for this. When you put your map on paper, it speaks to the next level of readers. I always say, dear future reader, sure, it's a heavy subject today. Sometimes we go spiritual. This time we're going reality check. Learning that a piece of paper is your best form of communication for your future self, or lack of. This way, there won't be any questions, because how you write, the words you use, that in itself is a picture of you. I'm Errol, and that's the Daily Mess.